Our family has been in the DC metro area for 20 years. And pretty early on, we discovered that our oldest, who's now 17, and the one that's attending ESBR, that he was different and really bright, but different. And it was always very difficult to find places where he could thrive and grow and learn with his challenges. So we said, okay, where is there a potential that we might want to go? We also were looking at a potential of long-term, how could we provide something stable for our son who may very well never go into the workforce? He had basically had 14 months of no school at all, like no school. We had to basically just completely throw out standards. We pulled him from school because he went into virtual school during COVID, and that became really sort of a toxic environment in our home, trying to get him to participate in the model of education that was available to him, which was virtual school, full virtual. We were just like, whatever you want, we're here to support you, but we cannot stay not moving forward. So you tell us what you, and we could not come to a consensus. We could not come to an agreement. There was no compromise. And then we came to Vermont, and we went and visited different towns in Vermont. And Ludlow seemed like a really good fit. It had schools, it had a community, it had a chemo. My husband reached out, spoke with Kendra, and just had a preliminary conversation with her about where we were. And we talked a little bit about liquidating our oldest's 529 plan, which is a college savings plan that you can save for, and you can use that for any educational spending. So initially he was resistant, but we basically had a heart-to-heart with him and said, you know, this really needs to happen. And Dad worked with him, and they prepared to have a very short discussion with Kendra just about what he was looking for, that we needed a flexible model, that we were looking for something that was student-led, that we wanted to be involved with the school. We wanted access to him in the school as well, which is a challenge when you are in the public school system, both access and also flexibility. So she said that's something that we can work with. It feels like he could be a good fit for the student body here. Normally, you would want some level of participation before you move to a state, and that's the big question a lot of people ask us is, how did you move to Vermont without even knowing your house, knowing the town, ever living in New England, and also not knowing what school?
What's your answer to that?
And we basically said we went on faith, because we had nobody else to give us guidance. We were in uncharted territory. We had never had anyone go ahead of us and do something like this that we knew in our circles to give us guidance. We moved in on January 4th, that next Monday, which I think was like the 10th, he started his first day of ESBR. He has missed 5 or 6 days in the entirety of the full calendar year that he's been here. Since last January, he's missed maybe 5 or 6 days. That is significant to us, because that shows that he was not mentally distressed to the point where he could not attend school. And that really is a challenge with his diagnoses, but also because of the move, the transitions, all of that can really impact. And then of course you throw in there COVID and the impact of the transition back to in-person learning. And it's a tremendous cultural shift. We're dealing with a recovery from an event that's never happened before. So it's sort of unprecedented. We weren't really able to get a whole lot of engagement with, life skills stuff, social emotional learning, things that really give us color and vibrancy in our quality of life. He wasn't able to really persist through a lot of that. It's always been a challenge for him, but I think as he's grown older, it's become more challenging. And, of course, you've got the looming, you're going to be growing up and becoming an adult, and you need independence. So the pressure of that was coming up because he was getting older, but we weren't seeing a whole lot of progress and growth. Before we moved to Vermont, it was, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it. We didn't get a sense that he had a great deal of hope for his own future. He now is getting a driver's license. He is now interviewing for a part-time job here in the community. He is now missed less than 6 or 7 days of school. He now is participating here at the studio, learning a skill like how to set up cameras. He is now exercising on a regular basis. He's now actually thinking about potentially going to college. ESBR is unique in what they do and why other people and families might want to consider this school. Currently, in this country and in most countries, there is no space for mental health, bringing kids up to a level where their mental health is strong enough to be able to have these really complicated and life-shifting mindsets and opportunities and experiences to really step onto a path of a vital and engaging and rich life, right? To be in a place where they can actually develop the skills, which is what education's about, right? It's about putting people into a space where they can learn something that then they take and contribute that mixed in with their giftings and their talents and their passions to a world that then leaves a legacy a little bit better than they found it. We're trying to create opportunities for young people in our lives, our children, the next generation to come, for financial independence, community engagement, and purpose in their life. And that's what really learning should be about, and that's what every environment that supposedly is supposed to be focused on learning should, I personally think, be focused on. And I feel that we're in this massive educational paradigm shift right now where that's no longer the priority. And you add neurodivergency in there, and you add the challenging mental health issues that are facing the student population and the younger ages now. And I just feel like it's a disconnect. You just are not having the resources and choice in types of learning environment meeting the avatar or the type of student that's coming into the learning environment now. We were able to be a part of that conversation and a part of that design for our son. I think that'll always be sort of the culture of ESBR, is that parents and students and the staff come together to create really unique, very one-on-one sort of individualistic learning journeys. And that's not something, honestly, that I think most schools can provide, just in terms of the sheer numbers, just because of pedagogy in general, with how education is meted out at this point. We basically built this way of educating children, and now we've committed to it as a society that this is the model. And so my concern is, what about these gifted, talented, unique, amazing people that are these kids that don't fit into that traditional model? Where is there for them to go? Like, where are they going to learn? Where will they be able to kind of realize their potential? I really do think neurodivergent kids have unique superpowers, honestly, that are not being leveraged to move our society forward in significant ways that we can't even really fathom. ESBR is a solid model of education that has the potential to meet the gap between college readiness and life preparedness for neurodivergent students specifically and typical students generally, who do not have fair and equal access to learning environments that allow them to truly achieve independence after leaving school. It is paramount that institutions like the Expeditionary School of Black River remain on the table as a school choice option for families so that all students have access to safe and supportive spaces for learning.